Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Seymour, and welcome to my project on insights into doctoral education. For this project, I chose to interview three phenomenal women with three very different doctorates. Although their doctorates were in wildly different fields of study, they had many overlapping themes and reasons for obtaining them. Like me, these women were working professionals when they obtained their doctorates. And unlike me, all three completed their doctoral studies in person. You will be hearing insights from Dr. Amy Phillips, who obtained her PhD in Communication Theory and Research from the University of California in 1985, Dr. Barbara Stites, who received her PhD in Leadership and Education with a specialization in Human Resource Development from Barry University in 2007, and Dr. Vanessa Reyes, who received her PhD in Library Science from Simmons University in 2016. These women had amazing insight into what goes into getting a doctorate, why they each pursued their doctorates, and where that doctorate has taken them in their careers. One of the themes that emerged from the three interviews was a sense of curiosity about learning new things. All four of us love to learn and have a natural curiosity that has taken us towards a doctoral degree. None of us had a straight path toward a doctorate. We received or will receive our doctorates at different ages, but none of us went straight through from a bachelor's to a doctorate. There was also the idea that these degrees would foster an ability to take our careers along paths that would not be open to us without obtaining a doctoral degree. There was a sense of knowing that these degrees would get us a seat at the table that would be unavailable without having a doctoral degree.
Hmm. When I first decided to do this, I decided to do it. I had a little peer pressure. My dear colleague, Elizabeth Curry, had just started her doctorate, and she was telling me all about these classes she was taking, and I was so intrigued. I thought they were so interesting. And her degree was in her doctoral degree was in communication. And it didn't feel like a perfect match for me, but I was so interested that she was expanding her knowledge, pushing the boundaries a little bit about what she was learning. So I started thinking about it, and another friend told me about a program that they were bringing to Fort Myers. So I decided that a PhD program, and they were actually bringing it there. And all of my career, I had commuted to school. From day one of undergraduate school, I commuted long distances, sometimes as much as 2.5 hours each way. So this idea of getting a doctorate degree where I didn't have to commute, I could just drive across town, was so appealing to me. So that was that was a long way of saying I got into this out of maybe curiosity or the desire to just learn some more. And the degree that was being brought locally was one in leadership and education, but it had a focus, a specialization in human resource development. And something about human resource development really appealed to me because I was so involved in training and continuing education because I had worked for 2 different library cooperatives. So I was very interested in that. And so I got going on that. The focus on human resource development, and there was a lot of organizational development coursework involved in this particular degree. It just served me so well. I took on a job as an associate dean at a university, having had no academic experience before that. And I found myself supervising faculty, staff, a whole bunch of people, and a lot of building, and a lot of associated things that go along with that, working collaboratively with lots of people across campus. And having this and I was at that time I was I think I just about finished my coursework, and was beginning to work on my dissertation. But having had that coursework behind me, that doctoral coursework that immersed me in lots of leadership research, lots of research about organizational development, learning organizations, um, managing people, managing management in general, all of that kind of stuff that I had only gotten snippets of in my master's degree, and certainly none of it in my undergraduate degree, which was in elementary education. I didn't know much of those things at all. I just found the coursework so interesting.
One of the themes that came to light through all three of my interviews was that there has to be a driving factor. You have to persevere. All three of my interviewees expressed that besides having that natural curiosity when it comes to learning, the most important thing one can do in a doctoral program is persevere. They all said that there's going to be challenges along the way. It could be a course that gives you trouble. It can be work getting in the way. It can be life in general. But to succeed as a doctoral student, you just have to keep going and persevere so that you can get to your ultimate goal of graduating with your doctorate and seeing where that degree is going to take you in life and in your career.
Perseverance, I think, is you have to persevere because there's going to be roadblocks along the way. Of course, you find that your research may not turn the results that you expect them to
Sure.
have. And, there's courses, I don't know, I hated basic statistics. It wasn't until I got into later on in statistics, if you're going to do something quantitative, you have to deal with, horrendous statistics and canonical correlations and multiple canonical and all kinds of BS. I
Right.
wound up doing a qualitative, and there has to be some quantitative. There had to be. So, I had to persevere going through the quantitative part of my dissertation. And I think I think perseverance, if I had to use one word, is to push through any, stuff along the way that seems to be an obstacle.
So each of my interviewees expressed that at one point or another during their program, they felt that feeling of how did I get here? Everyone in the program is so much smarter or more capable than I am. They all reiterated how normal it is to feel imposter syndrome. And all three expressed that you need to trust the process. You were selected for the program for a reason, and you 100% belong there. Take those negative thoughts and put them out of your head. You can do this. You can do hard things. And I know that ultimately having this degree will get me to where I want to be, which is a professor of library science. Whether that is a tenure track or an adjunct position, I don't know, but I do know that is where I ultimately would like to end up. These feelings were reiterated by one of my mentors from my master's program, and it feels like the perfect way to conclude this video on doctoral study.
Fine. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And that's another thing that happens in the journey is that you put a lot of pressure on yourself because you have an expectation of what you thought it would be, but it's not. And then you kind of, you become overstimulated. And then all of a sudden you have moments where you feel like an imposter.
I was just going to say that. I came home from orientation. I was like, what am I doing in this room?
How am I going to? Yes,
I said to my husband,
exactly.
I'm like, why did they pick me? Like, who am I to be in this room?
Trust me, you are 100% capable. You have the skill sets. You've been wanting to do this. You have a vision, but you're always going to see it that way because you see what others are doing and what capabilities they have and the areas that they're getting into. And you start to say, what?
Well, like, but that's so nice to hear from one of my professors, right? Like, you had the same thing. I don't
Everyone
think
goes
it's
through it.
unusual.
No, it's not. It's not. Everybody goes through that imposter syndrome.